Everyone. So we are back, and thank you so much for joining me this morning and this afternoon here as I'm working over here um, at Milton Artist Guild in Milton, Vermont. It's really chilly out today, but the sun is coming in beautifully. There's a lot of people coming in and out. This place is chock full of art. And what I'm going to do, one moment, please. Sorry, to drink some of this. What I'm going to do is before I leave, I'm going to take a walk around in general so you get an idea of just how beautiful this place is. And so that will readily go on my TikTok, and then we will we'll get it shared over here on YouTube also. So and there's just all different types of art here. I mean, if you're traveling, you're on vacay, this is definitely one of those places to stop at. Um, and there's just all kinds of beautiful art here. Of course, my art's here too. Just joking. But anyway, with that said, so what I have done is I pinned everything, the steps. Here, I'll show you here as we continue our design. I pinned the steps here in place. Oh, that one needs to be better, pinned better. And the windows and the door. I really like that right now. I might play around with this more to see if something pops or looks a little better, but I like the little window up here. If I put some yellow acrylic paint, maybe yellow there for the window panes. This is the thing, the creative process, as I was saying, really can take a really long time, and it's so therapeutic and it's so fun. It's the most fun part of, in my opinion anyway, one part of me creating the art is the design layouts. And those can take a long time because, like I said, until you really put that piece of it's like when we're building a Boro inspired pieces, until we put that fabric down on top of the other one and it's overlapping and we continue, you're not going to know what that piece looks like until it's done. Now I know that sounds weird. However, there are other types of art you do that you have a pretty good idea what it's going to look like. With this, we're kind of getting a little surprise as we go along. But so I'm going to leave those like that. And during break, I can't. What I did was I moved this house up a little farther. So this, see if you can see it. Yep, this house is up a little higher towards the top part of this piece. I'm really liking that these stripes, the original piece, cotton base, is working with the design. This is actually working with the design of the other pieces that I'm using as part of a landscape. So one thing I wanted to try and is I have a long piece of seam, a denim seam. I'm going to trim that, I think, a tiny bit, but I'm going to put it over on this side of the work. We're going to put the coffee behind us because if I don't, my elbow will catch it. So I'm going to put that back there. Now, this piece jumped out at me right here. Let's see. Yeah, that's too far over for you to see. So what I'm going to do is pick this up. I'm going to cover that for a moment and see if you can see how that just kind of, with it being over here, how adorable it looks next to this house. So I'm going to move the computer back because I have to work here. And I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. So, oh, misplaced my scissors. Here they are. Now, the other thing I did is I took out a few other pieces of the fabric. Now, these are more the blended. This is a this is a piece from the thrift shop, and it says there's some kind of a Scotch finish. I guess that would be the way to describe this. There's a finish on it of some kind. I don't know the what that would contain. However, because it is it was in the thrift shop, it's a recycled piece. It totally qualifies to be part of my stash for sure. Now, if you look in it too, look, it has flowers in it, kind of all over painted. So I want to get a larger flower here. In this one. Now, what I can do is I can cut out a flower. I can cut out like a tulip, and then I can cut out this one. So I kind of want to get a little tulip. Because I love tulips and I love daisies. But to do the daisy, what I want to do is take time to draw a daisy. I don't know if you can see this. I'm just kind of it's a little tulip. Now, so here's a tulip. Now, and it doesn't have to be, in my opinion, it doesn't have to be perfect. That's how I do my art. As you probably notice, I just do what I'm loving to do. So this flower, I'm going to put a little couple waves on this flower going around and just kind of emphasizing that that's what it is. And then I'm going to sit this flower on top of a denim stem. But what I want to do with this, because we're working on our garden right now, this is what we're doing. We're growing a garden with our fabric. If you know anybody who gardens, you can tell them that you found a new way to grow a garden with your fabric. So I'm going to, because it kind of popped out at me, is I wanted this flower over next to this house. So we're going to try it over there. I don't know if you can see that. Well, here, I'll just show you here what it looks like because it's so beautiful, really. We'll put it over here for the moment. This is really beautiful. Now, see, depending on where it is, I like it much better here. So I'm going to move it back over here and put it against that house, and I'm going to pin it, and then I can hold it up for you. And that way you can really see what I'm talking about, the effect of the flower against this little house in the village. And we'll get this part of the house down there. Okay, this is really super adorable. I'll bring this over here. If you can see that. Whoops, goes the house. But you can see the bright blue contrasting against the checkers, classic black and white, just precious with a vintage roof. Look how adorable that is. Now, um, something I like to do, and I have in many of my something I like to do, and I have in many of my paintings and many of my drawings, is a sunflower kind of with its head down like that. So the stem is coming like that. So I'm going to put some pieces like that in here, but we're going to try that. We're going to try a couple things right now with the tulip. Here's a tulip. And so this could be our little garden of tulips. Actually, this is a larger, it might even look better. No, I guess it looks better here. And here's our other piece that was right there. Okay, so yeah, that looks really cute. I'm just kind of playing around with that. I turned this around because the bottom of this is knotty. So I'm putting it at the bottom because it gives it a little more texture here as a stem. But the tulip can be sitting, it can be upright, or you can turn it. So, it's kind of over on the side like that, or the other side, and kind of test it out. This has a lot of the same colors as this house. So I don't know if I'm going to totally go with that, but what might happen is it pops beautifully against this beige. Very nice. So for the moment, I'm going to leave that there. And this piece of fabric um is got part of a flower, but I can use the entire piece and cut it out in the shape of a flower. So I'm going to put that over here for a moment, because the other thing you can do when you get scrap fabrics, you can well, let me first preface this with when you crochet and you're creating a flower, or you're crocheting a rose, you want to create a rose. You crochet first a long piece of a row, let's say. And then you take it and you roll it. You roll it like this. And when you're rolling it with the crochet, because the size and dimension will change, it creates kind of a flowery effect. Now, you can do that same thing basically with fabric, and the same idea you can do with fabric. Only, maybe with fabric, you're going to, um, maybe you're going to tie it. Maybe you're going to roll it differently. This one might not work as well as I'm thinking, but I'm going to try this one more time. Like that. Oh, yeah. See, so this is the thing. You can take your scrap fabric. I wasn't quite sure. I usually knot these, but look, you can take that. That's totally a flower. That's just really cutesy. And so you can take that and you can put that on a stem, or you can make a bunch of these and kind of make little bluebells like that. So you can make bluebells, and you just know that the edges are uneven and you're rolling it and tying it at the stem. That's how you're doing that. Or you can keep it like this and take some of your scraps. We had this earlier, and tie that, use that as the adhering little tie, if it's going to let us do that. It might not be long enough. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Nope. It may not be long enough. It's actually too thin. So that's okay. We know that. That's okay. We can always take this and we can put a little stitch in there. So hi, how are you? That's good. Because I really, really like this a lot, I'm going to um, I'm going to put this on a stem, maybe this one over here. And I'm going to revisit this by stitching it. I'm going to experiment a little bit with this fabric and design because I really like that. And so in the next video, when I see you, I may have used different fabrics with the little bluebells coming down. So that's a really cutesy way to adorn your house, to accessorize your garden like that. And here's another flower, and I definitely want this flower to be in this as a long stemmed flower because this is about 3 inches by 3. This is good size. So I'm definitely I'm going to cut this now in my own little kind of wavy way here to create more of a floral effect. So that's how I'm doing that. I'm not tracing anything. You can trace. You can definitely trace. You can get your floral patterns off the internet. Um, if you draw them, you can draw them first. If you're an artist and you draw, I mean, if you're an artist, I'm assuming a lot of you are artists here. I'm going to put that flower over there, and I'm bringing this one. I'm going to just kind of put that there for the moment because I know that I want this on this side somewhere. I want that as part of this piece. Now we're going to move over here to this house. And so what I'm going to do, um, so those are a few flowers. Let's kind of move those up there because I'm going to bring the computer over here so you can see better. I kind of have to put it on top of some of what we worked with so you can see this. There. This one right here, it's little. It's a little house. Uh, fabric that had a tag on it. It was actually made in Japan. I got this at the thrift shop. So I was super lucky to get that. Hmm. And you see the designs on there. You can follow that pattern with your sashiko stitching if you want to. And the same on the back. You see the circles. So what I'm going to do with this house, and I'd kind of like to put a little walk up here, maybe just a couple little steps like that. So there's my steps. And now here's some scrap fabric. So it's small, which is perfect. Actually, yeah, that's really good right here. This comes from the flower that we just was working with. So we can see, we should be able to get a couple of windows. I'm going to make longer windows. I kind of want them to be the same size. So I'm just going to trace that one. Let's see. And this one of these might, instead of a window, it might make a nice chimney, but let's see how these go here. I like the looks of it, but they look a little too long. They look like if I put them on either side of the steps, they kind of create a little doorway. Like they could be little windows, and that is the doorway there. Um, or we could put one here. I'd like to put this one with the kind of leaf right there in the middle of the stairs. and then it creates a door, and this one up here, we can make the chimney. Now, let's see, but that obscures with that right there, unless we put the chimney on that side. So I'm going to put these here for the moment because I want to try a different fabric and see what the next fabric looks like. Oh, this might jive really nice. This might jive really nicely. So let's try a little door. I'm going to try one strip of this, and from that, I'm going to make a door right there, and I'm going to make 2 windows. I'll just cut this evenly in the center. That's very nice. I mean, that's cute. That works. I think that works nicely. Um, maybe this one we'll put here. Let's see what that looks like for the door. Now, let's try. It might be too much yellow in the 3 of those. So I'm going to try a different color altogether and see what I have here. I kind of have a purple. Let's try the purple, and we're going to try this polka dot earth tone. This is just really beautiful. It doesn't show up too much on that one though. It might show up on something else easier and clearer. So let's see here. This is more purple. I mean, I like that. I like that. So I'm going to cut that down a tiny bit. Okay, that's really cute. So it's very tiny. There. So I'm going to leave that like that for now. And I can always switch it out if I want. Now, this might make a really nice chimney. Let's see. Yeah, that's better for the chimney. Much better. Now, the chimney is not going to show up on that side, so we're going to put it over here. This is, we're going to bring it up so we can see it. It's almost too short, that piece. It's almost too short. I almost like it as a door. Now, the other thing we could do is some stacking. If we put this as a door and we do our Boro stacking a little bit, let's see if it brings the door out a little more. Kind of, but not to the extent I would think. So I'm going to leave that like that, and I'll leave those windows. And who knows, it might be changed again. Now, we can also use seams. We can also use our seams as chimneys. Now, the nice thing about that is it gives the chimney, it gives the chimney texture and creates that. So we're going to leave that. That was very nice. That's really cutesy. So here's our scrap fabrics. I'm going to keep these. All these teeny pieces I end up using at one time or another. So that's that. And, you know, with this too, with this, you can even, if you don't want to paint the, now because this is small, this piece is super small. If you didn't want to paint the panels, let's say on your windows or shutters or whatever, um, and you use a piece like this and it's just too tiny to stitch, even if you're using regular sewing needle and thread, you can use fabric glue. You're building a you're building a wall hanging, you're building a piece of art. So you can either paint your panels on there or you can use your fabric glue. So I'll be revisiting those, but I won't take 100 minutes on here to go because that's what I do. On pieces like this, that's what I do. I move pretty fluently and quickly on the Boro inspired and then the Kiwandi inspired because there's such a beautiful method and flow to them. So, okay, now what I'm going to do with you, one more thing, is I'd like to, we have one more house over here. Let's see, I don't know. Yeah, I guess you can see it. I can move the computer up, but what we're going to do first is we're going to take the bird and we're going to dress our bird up a little bit. So I'm going to keep it very simplistic and I'm just going to cut first. Excuse me. I'm going to cut the bird um generally. I'm not going to worry about too much detail right now. I'm just going to get the general shape of the bird. And you may have to, when you do this, because this piece is tiny, so you may have to come out a little bit. I wouldn't say an eighth of an inch, but you may have to come out a bit and to get the shape of the beak and of the tail. Okay, so here's my little bird. Let's see if you can see that. There you go. There's a bird. Now what we're gonna do with that bird, um, as you want to add it to your village, um, maybe it sits up on a house. So here's here's a silhouette of it. So it could end up, I'm going to move this piece. It could end up sitting on a house. Maybe this is actually the bird house. And if it is, we can put a little, we can put that, I would make that the birdhouse. We can put that post, we can put it on a post right here. And we can take another piece of denim. Let's see, I'll have to find if I have any more, or we could take another piece of fabric, but denim seems to really, I don't know, it just seems to be such, it's already a mastered piece of fabric. And so we can bring it out. Let's say we do this. We have this, and we're bringing the bird and we're putting the bird to sit on the post. I don't know if you can see that here. I'm going to move the camera a little closer to see if you can see that. Yeah. So here's the birdhouse. So here's the bird. Okay. So bring this out so that the bird is sitting on a little perch like that, or we can keep it here as part of the birdhouse and then maybe make something that the bird or just even put it. See, if you put it in the birdhouse like that, the silhouette is jumping out at you a little better. Now, if we dress the bird up and using the concept of Boro building, so we'll have a different color bird, different colors, and so we're going to do that. And to help you, I don't have a pen with me, do I? Yes, I do. So to help you figure out, well, where am I going to put the feathers? How am I going to do that? Well, you can just draw right on here. Oh, this pen is out of ink. So, okay, but that's okay. You can do this a couple ways. You can paint. This is a different method right now from Boro inspired, but you can paint. These are fabric. Oops, sorry. These are fabric pieces, and I'm just going to give them a little angle, and I'm just going to use them to paint, to call what I call painting with my fabrics. I'm just going to place these because there's a thing, there is a, I'm sorry, a thing. There is a method, I said that for lack, not finding my words, but where you can paint with fabrics. So I'm using all scraps here, and I'm building the wings of the bird. And because of time, I'm not going to sew these down today, but instead give you an idea. So that is, I'm going to put this up a little bit. There. Okay. So we're going to put this bird here so I can get a better idea of what it looks like. So far, it's a lot of blue. Now, when I go to do the beak, I'm going to make it a little bigger than what that is and what it is here, because that way you'll be able to see it. Now, a nice way to do a beak is just take the corner of a piece of fabric and cut it. So then you have a beak. And this is going to be big, but this is a good way to show you. So let me get a pin in here to get these pinned together. So you do in your beak, and that may seem large, and you can always cut this or you can cover it. Okay, so we'll continue here because we're going to want the eye up there. Or maybe I want to turn this and have it this way. So this color is part of the bird. And then at the very end, I'm going to paint an eye there. So for today, for this moment, I am, make sure you can see that, I am putting the beak on the bird. Now I can always come back and I can trim the beak if I want to. If I have a pen, I could draw here that those are the feet. I can use, and what we're going to do is we're going to come back on these. We're going to continue basically because there's detail to this that you'll have to see to understand. Like with this bird, you can probably figure it out, but maybe you want to see how I do it. Most likely I'm going to use some twine to create the feet. With that said, I might end up doing sashiko stitching in black thread for the feet and for the eye. So I may use free motion stitching on my machine to create the bird. Hi, how are you today? Hi. It's good. So there's mixed methods that you can use to create your Boro inspired piece. So I'm going to pin that beak on because I didn't bring my glue with me today. So I'm going to do that. But you can see just how adorable that's going to come out. Really cutesy. So let's just pick a couple of other pieces of, now I could have actually, look at this one. This just kind of naturally flows. Now, I don't know if anybody here um out there in the audience studies birds. But I have to tell you, and maybe you've seen them over on TikTok, and I'm sure here on YouTube, but they have the most elaborate tropical birds, especially. It's just unusually beautiful with feathers kind of flowing down and whatnot. So, however, which way you want to design your bird, I'm sure is totally fine. And it's creative way to like this one. I almost kind of want to, I got to lift all that up, but I want to kind of add that to that little design I already put. And it's an afterthought, but that's okay. Um, so I'm just kind of adding all these pieces. Now this is a larger piece. And again, I'm pulling inspiration there. I'm feeling like this could go beautifully here, and just kind of if I can cut that with a little wave, or I can put it this way and cut that right there. I kind of pull inspiration from that and then pull all these here. So I really like that. I'm going to do that. I should have cut it first, but I'm going to go ahead and trim it around the bird. And look, that just kind of naturally went up. So I turn the bird around and I'm just going to trim. So I'm getting more of an emphasis of the bird. That's just really adorable. So I'm going to put that bird is going to be there. So that's as far as I'm going to go on that for this moment, because I may paint its cap a little bit. So over on Vermont Sun and Shade, I have been going through lists of birds. I'm going to sip my coffee here for a moment. And some of them, we have the there's red-capped woodpecker. There's nuthatches that have little, and their heads are shaped differently. They're kind of just like flat. And then you've got, I think you even have chickadees that have red in them. I mean, just beautiful. It just pop. And it may seem to you when you're at this stage of trying to fit these pieces, they're moving on you, this and that. You can use your fabric glue, you can use double-sided tape for a moment or two to get them in place. And of course, you want to be careful with that because you want to be able to remove it as you're putting your few stitches in there to hold it, and then you can remove it. But that's another way to, I've done that. For the lack of the, if I didn't have something around the house, I just pulled that tape, right? So, um, but you get your design in place with your few stitches, and then you start to just really focus on how you're going to continue to design your bird. So this bird is going to be really cutesy, and I may leave a feather to up like that. And there's a little feet there, and this. So this I'm going to pin, because even though today when I leave here, I'm going to fold this up. And mind you, this piece, so this piece, it's going to be hand stitched with Boro inspired horizontal, vertical, and running stitches like that. I'm going to pull some embroidery stitches, like seed stitching. Seed stitching is also part of sashiko. So the embroidery stitches were built up on that running stitch, right? So, and I'm going to paint. I'm going to use beads. So there's different methods I'm going to use to build this design. And so that's the bird, that's the post. I'm going to keep that post. And with the post, this is another thing I want to share with you for creativity designs. With the post, you can always take another piece of fabric and you can kind of just have it line up right like this, like right behind it. I did this with my other painting. I had, because what this does, if you can see it, when you do things like that, even if you're seeing just a little bit of that layering, it's so effective. It's ridiculous. I mean, it just makes such a difference in whatever you're creating. If you try that, it just might give it more of a rustic feel. It may give it more of contrasting and make it pop or look more creative. Um, but it's pulling and utilizing some of the ways of Boro that are made or were made authentically when they were stacking or layering as they were mending their worn out clothing. And today, contemporarily, those designs are, people love them. They're very, very popular. So with that, I think I'm trying to think what else to do here with you today. With this little birdhouse, there is one more thing we can do. Let me move this bird for a moment. I want to give it a little, we've got the bird. I wanted to give it a little door, like a little hutch right there. That is what I wanted to do. So we have so many little pieces here that we can do that with. Um, and I'm just trying out some of these. Mhm. I'd kind of like it to be I'd kind of like it to be very gentle looking. So I'm going to do something here. I want it to be, and this I might come back and make it a little wonky. I don't know. We may just do a piece that's all wonky, but, and call it the Wonky Village. How's that sound? Um, I would love to see someone make a wonky village. We're going to do that next. It should be this one, but we're kind of, this is kind of, um, got its own little style going right now. So that's kind of cutesy for the door. I don't even know if I need that outline there. But yeah, we're gonna keep that. We're gonna actually keep that. That's really cute. So I'm gonna pin down the top part. And this here. Okay, so this is the bird is not pinned down, but that's the little door for the bird house. Isn't that just precious? And what we're going to do with the birdhouse is we're going to give it more flowers also. So we'll have flowers coming all around it. So I'll be making more of those off screen. So let's just take a look at the village thus far. And oh, we lost one of our houses. Okay. So we're going to put the bird there. So let's take a look at the village so far. We're going to move. We ended up with one flower down here. So far, we have, this is really cute. Now, I mean, when this is done, then it comes together. And the more you lay things out, your perspective becomes really clear. It's like you can't get a clear perspective until things are laid down. You want to, excuse me, in my opinion, you want to be able to move these pieces. Um, you want to be able to, we're going to have more flowers here, but I'm kind of messing around with this one right now. Um, I just love that right there. I feel like it needs a longer stem, and we're going to get it like that. Now, the other thing you can use for your stems are just your, pieces of fabric. It doesn't have to be the seam. The seam is just a little, and when you do that, you can kind of move them around like that. So see that flower? I'm kind of making it dance, and I love that. That's very much a part of a Carmela Teresa design you're going to see. I don't share a lot of my paintings and artwork with you, but I have so many of them. And some of them are on Saatchi.com, and but there's so many designs I have in my head for those, but this is a very typical thing you'll see me do is make the flowers dance. So I'm gonna pin this one just for the heck of it right there. This because this here, this is a garden. This is a garden outside that house. That's what that is. And I had a little piece here. I want to take that off. And now, and then you can play around with your designs because look, you can put a bird, you can put a bird there, just kind of see how the bird looks. So far, the bird is perfect in its bird house, I have to say. So this flower, I want it to look up. And I really didn't want to cover this here, so I'm leaving that there. Okay, so this is my passion. I mean, I could talk to you all day long about this process and what I'm doing and what I'm thinking. But this is the best way to bring you along with me is to create and show you how I'm creating. And then, and because no two ways are the same, it just isn't. So this tulip, I'm just going to put over here. And as I'm going to add smaller flowers coming up from here, I'm going to use different fabrics. I'm going to bring them around here. I may make a trellis with twine, so you might want to try something like that. A set. Okay, so let's see if you can see here. I got a little blur on the screen. That's why I'm doing that. So this little house here, we have a chimney with some texture. We have the windows down here. I'd kind of like to put an attic with a little window up there, a couple little windows there. We're building a village. It's like building a little dollhouse,
Yep, it is.
It's
Very time consuming, but
it's very time consuming, but it's using all scrap fabrics.
yeah.
So it's like I tell the audience on YouTube, I'm like, this when I go to a fabric store, if I went to a fabric store, would not pick these two things out. There's no way.
Yeah.
I go to a thrift shop and I can find whatever there is there. I'm going to buy it because it's all recycled fabrics.
Exactly.
It's
what matters today.
Yeah, it really does. And you get these pretty, this is Boro sashiko. So it's hand stitched. You don't need your sewing machine. It's all scrap fabric. Yeah, I know, right? But yeah, it's a lot of fun. There really is, and look how big the place is. It's you may not, you may have to come back. You you could make it a 3-part tour, vacay. Oh goodness. So yeah, so as just reminding everybody, we're here at the Milton Artist Guild, and people come in and they look at this art. This place is so big you cannot get through it and like really through it in a short amount of time. You could spend a day in here. Actually, they have chairs. It's like, get your coffee, come back and sit down, take a break, and then get back up. So, so yeah, so in this piece, we did these steps. I'd still like to put some posts here, maybe a fence. I don't know, but definitely flowers will be surrounding there. We have this space here. Um, and I had the pleasure of when I was a kid, I got a special tutor from an artist called Romer Bairden, who was working in New York City and had a studio. My mom had a connection with him, and he gave me some lessons on perspective. And he says, your eye always wants to keep moving in the piece. So when you come to something like this over here, and you've got this is considered, in my view, uh, empty space, dead space, maybe. If it's part of your artistic theme or message or whatever, totally, I get it. However, what I'm doing here is I want to create a flow. So I want to have something in my spaces here. And, maybe it's whimsical stuff. Maybe it's the dragonflies and some flowers and designs, earth tones that are, um, you know, kind of like what I was showing you earlier. So, but let's say we take these torn pieces and we make them more like mountains. We make them like a landscape, like an abstract type of a landscape. You could do something like that. So I'm just playing around with that. But yes, we have that area to fill. So this house needs a little bit more. We have a couple steps. This house, as we did the Kiwandi, we definitely got to make sure we have our houses. And I'm just going to pull this one down because this is this is a Kiwandi. That is a Kiwandi house. So, maybe my flowers end up moving a tiny bit here. Um, like this. And my houses are right next to each other like that. And I got a little overlapping. Now, guess what? This is starting to look like a village. We studied the architect, not studied, but you know what I mean. We got inspired by how little stone cottages are laid out and this and that. So you kind of keep that in your mind. And you may not know what it looks like until you're kind of throwing it, designing, putting designing, strategically creating your village. So, and then we've got this little birdhouse over here, and then we've got more flowers. So that's how far we are right now on this adorable little village. And what I might do is put this one up here. I do want a house that is Kiwandi or Boro very close to this house, and then another one up there, and then maybe one up here. So these houses, I may just do between a running stitch or I may do cantha. I think I will do running stitch some of these windows and doors just to give you an idea. I'll do seed stitching. Some flowers. I always do seed, not always, but hang on. Let's see if I did seed stitching on this. Well, here on this piece, these are all running stitches going in a round circular. These are my seed stitching right here. These are my French knots, more French knots. So there's different types of stitching that you can do to emphasize whatever it is that you are creating. So with that, I'm going to let you get into your beautiful creative mode, go with your passion, your energy. I would love to see some of these pieces. Either direct us or let me share a link where you're going to show your stuff. I'd be happy to do that with your permission. Um, and I will see you in the next one. Now, today's Friday, March 8th. I am going to be working on this more. I am heavily working on the book, so that is taking, because I'm almost done with that. I really have got myself on a timeline, because if you don't, you can, like I made the I have done other little very tiny works. Uh, I've done some poems that got published. I actually had a publisher at one point. And she went into a different business. Anyway, but what I'm saying is I'm familiar mostly with timelines because of my work. When I did HR, it was, there'd be a project you want done in that time. You know how it is anyway. So, I am definitely putting myself on timelines. And with this, I kind of do in a non-pressured way. I'm like, but we're gonna continue with this village, and I'm gonna come back uh when I come back with this village this week, into the beginning of this next week. We're gonna let these two live videos let you absorb a lot of the creative process I went through. Uh, see if you get, it might be something that I've shared that helps you or inspires you. But when we come back, basically, these will be sewn down more. There'll be more of a defined design. Will I have added a landscape more in the back, along with this green and this green backing and this, maybe things, knowing myself, there'll be some changes. But the gist of it right here, I love the birdhouse, I love this house, and I love that house. So there'll be more additions to it. So with that, I thank you so much for being with me today, and I hope you have a beautiful weekend, and I will see you in the next one.